ready? We've got a spot ready over here. I'll show you. Right along here. I'm out with the boys in the garden. All the boys. Little buddies behind you here. We're gonna plant 5 raspberry plants. I was out here prepping this area to put in the raspberries, digging up the soil, adding a bunch of this partially composted manure, and I found this cool little elderberry plant here, which I will keep. And that came from actually just burying some chunks of elderberry root that I dug up from the wild. These raspberries came from the Indiana Berry and Plant Company. These are a variety called Nantahala. And if you're from around here, you'll recognize the name immediately. This variety was developed by NC State. And I bought it because it's supposed to taste good and do well around here. It's okay, dude. Alright, that's that. Look at these silly cows. Hey, lady. Hey, babies. How are y'all doing? It's been pretty rainy the past 2 days, which has been nice for the garden and pasture and everything. The cow's been out in the rain. We pretty much try to keep her outside and have generally been happier overall when we kept the cow that we had out of the barn. She will stay so much cleaner out here than she will in the barn. And not only will she stay cleaner, which makes milking, cleaning easier, keeps your milk cleaner, the barn stays a lot cleaner too. So everything stays cleaner if she just stays out, and the rain doesn't hurt her. You know, if it's storming real bad, we might let her in the barn, but if I turn my gaze over this way, there's an apple tree that's doing great, but right in here, there are 2 ducks sitting on duck eggs. Such good little bugs. Our raspberries are in the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then between this post and that corner up there, we'll put in 13 more plants. And I think it's 5 different varieties. The potatoes are doing awesome. I've started just mulching them with grass that I cut by hand from around the edge of the garden. This lettuce looks awesome, but it needs thinning, but it's just growing beautifully. This is Joyful's garden. She needs to do some work on it. These peas along the fence are looking really puny. So last night I cut grass all along the fence to try to give them a little more sunlight. And then I fertilized them this morning with some fish fertilizer to try to just get them to pop. The asparagus is doing awesome, and there's just a nice thick stand of it. Look at this giant here. And then under the feet of the asparagus, there are thousands of little asparagus plants here all along. So if we let it, this whole area here and here will turn into a big giant asparagus bed. The rhubarb looks really great, and there's comfrey coming up down here in the path. The strawberry bed looks really, really good. And here are onions, which this was my last project, is weeding and mulching. This is going to be my next one. Weeding the onions, probably mulching them in some way. And then here's Chinese chives, which are pretty tasty. The garlic looks good, but needs weeding. Kale, the same. Beets, the same. Spinach looks pretty good. That is, I think, radishes. Green onions, the kids are constantly eating these. You can see all these tops pulled off. That's from children eating them. And then there's some radishes in here. That one actually, that's a nice little radish in there. Let's pull that out. Ooh, what a pretty little radish. We'll bring that inside. There's probably more. And then cilantro, beautifully green and growing. Starting here, we have herbs, dill plants here, and then lots of little dill coming up. chives, bunching onions are just coming up after much delay. Oregano, thyme, sage, tarragon, I'm pretty sure. I'll show you how our cabbage is doing in this tunnel. It's doing awesome, and it is not being eaten by caterpillars, at least. I saw a little slug damage on one of them. But look at this. A lot of weeds, but the plants look awesome, and they're big and they're strong. Really pretty little plants there. This portion of the garden behind me is almost completely planted. There's a little open real estate here, down at the end there, and then in the ends of those beds, but our early garden's almost totally in. Next comes this mess up here. This part of the garden, as far as the soil goes, is pretty significantly worse than what's behind me down here. We've put a ton, actually multiple tons, honestly, literally, of organic manure, compost into this lower portion, and just not as much into the upper portion. So we're gonna rototill this upper portion. So that's what's next in the garden, and that pretty much wraps up our garden tour. Let's go see some baby goats. So far, this is the most vigorous of all the apple trees, and it's a liberty. All of these trees are putting on a good amount of new growth. This is a spray star, and we're gonna have to pick these off here, but this thing has probably 20 or 30 tiny little apples on it, and it's just a second year in the ground tree. I got some hay for you. You want it? There's a few stray chickens, but we'll let the majority of these chickens out here. They've been cooped up today, and they'll be glad to get out. All the baby goats are in here. How are y'all doing? What are y'all doing hanging out in here? It's beautiful outside. What are you doing hanging out in here, silly? Here's little Lucky, the cutest goat in the world. Are you patting that goat? Are you petting the goat? That's so sweet. He's back there. He's patting the goat with his little fat hand. Do you love that goat, Wilder? Yeah, he's petting it back there behind me. Yeah, you're petting the goat while I'm holding it. He's so sweet. Braveheart, are you trying to come in here? I'll get out of your way. Alright, get down. Go play. If I couldn't interest you in some hay, maybe I could interest you in some fly spray, ma'am. I think that's why she's making that little bit of a bellowing sound, because the flies are so bad this year. Well, she doesn't like it, so she's running from me. What cow does like being sprayed? Dolly never liked fly spray. I did get some on her just now, so hopefully that'll help her be more comfortable. Don't you think it's wet enough out here already? Well, that's gonna about wrap it up for our impromptu garden tour and showing you around the homestead. It's been another great day on the homestead. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you quite soon in another video.